Good morning, everyone. As I said a little while ago, it's a good morning not to be long Tesla. Hey, good morning, Pat. Yeah, that's in a little bit of a nasty gap to the downside. Dan, I'm sure I'll take a look at that, but let's see what markets are doing here. Yesterday was a gap up, little profit taking day. We'll see where it goes. Trends are still up. Red days happen within uptrends. Getting closer to different resistance areas. As we covered earlier in the week, the bears really had their shot to take this market down to some level within this upward move. You could see on the weekly chart. We even had a topping tail. We had a big red bar, and it just went sideways. And that's bullish price action, undeniably so. Common sense, call it whatever, says the market should pull back after that many green bars up. The market doesn't always do what maybe historically it does or what we believe to be common sense. But that's why we look at things objectively, bar by bar. And so far, it looks like it's going higher. This week has been a pretty narrow range week. We've got a couple of days to go. And this bar right here obviously could turn into a gap and crap type of bar, red filling the gap, or it could just hold here doing nothing, or maybe for whatever reason today it starts to go up. Right now things are pretty neutral. Some negativity, as you can see, and some positivity going on here. Some of the leaders are down a bit, and Roku, obviously Tesla, Facebook's actually up. That's been doing well. MU got a downgrade to a sell, and the semiconductors have been doing very well. So maybe that's going to put a damper on some of those leaders. You can see NVIDIA's down a little bit there. And I saw Intel, Microsoft's down a little bit, and so on. So kind of neutral ups and downs there. So we'll see where it goes. Spiders, you could see, had the red day yesterday. And after taking out the prior high, greater than 100% retracement concept, we expect to stall momentum, and that's what's happened. So now, as we do every day, does it break the prior day's low? As you can see, that hasn't happened in a few days. Or does it get above the prior day's high, which it did on a gap, and then some profit taking came in. So same routine, right? High and low of the day. You can see here, pre-market. Let me just make sure that's on 24 hours since I switched to a different computer here. And no, it's not. Let's take a look. All right, so we get a little bit of a different picture, which that's what I want. And so 268, 90, it's okay, kind of just chopping around here, but we'll see where today brings. So far, just neutral is what we're seeing here in the futures and across the board of different ups and downs. Qs, same story. Got a topping tail yesterday. So topping tails tell us that buyers took control. Now, can they continue and take it lower? So we shall see. And I don't need to put that there. All right. Low is 183.21. And so far, prices are above that. Does it go down? It's got an unfilled gap if it does. So just watch the unfilled gap area. If it starts to pull back, we've got a little breakout failure based on the 24-hour chart. And you can see they're marching up toward the all-time high. And we do the same thing on the weekly chart. Does it break a prior bar's low? You can see as it moved up here, that didn't happen until here. And then it reversed right back up again. And so there was that nasty reversal and reversed right back up. And just looks like these markets want to make new all-time highs. And just based on the weekly chart, that's the assumption that we can make until we see another breakdown under a prior weekly bar's low and close below it. And major support is down here since we've made a new high. And that's our line in the sand within that uptrend that would break the uptrend as it did here. And then, as Mr. Schizo has it, he reversed things immediately and went right back up again. So a break of a trend is one piece of information that we can use to be objective about what's happening. And at that point, we can say, okay, now it's okay to short a lower high setup when we get a reversal pattern. Well, that never happened. So the method saves you from just jumping on board in anticipation. So from one piece of information. So we take one piece of information, put it together with another piece of information, and we come up with a trading plan and a setup. So just went straight up after the break and so on, and it's still going up. And Russell marching its way up into the prior major resistance area in the 200 MA. So far, it's holding up here. Got a bull type of flag on the weekly, which has now started to move up, but another narrow range week. The market's waiting for something here. Getting a question here. Why wait for it to close before the low of the weekly bar? If the close can be essentially any price, why not wait for the simple break of the low versus the close below the low? Sure, Brian. Well, that is what we call an anticipatory entry, where it just breaks the higher the low. So on the way up, right, if we were to get a buy setup, we don't need for it to close above a high to trigger. So with a buy setup, it just needs to trade above it, and that gives us the signal to press the button. Now, as far as a reversal, I'm looking for something more definitive to trade against the trend. So, and even a break and close below the low isn't necessarily a reason to short an uptrend. That's just one piece of information that says, hey, this is something different than what preceded it, as you could see here. And so, as this went up and then got this big red down bar here, that suggested it would go lower. And then there was an inside bar, and this is what we call a 1, 2, 3 continuation pattern, but those are best utilized within a downtrend, a continuation of a downtrend, not as a entry point for a counter trend setup. So with counter trend setups, we want to see a break of a trend and then short a lower high. So over here, just needed the break of a prior bar's low, didn't need a close. So, I'm just explaining things from the point of view of, hey, do we have something meaningful here where price is actually broke here on a weekly basis on something that's been trending up so strongly? So Russell, up at the prior high, obviously a place where there's going to be sellers, but the depth of retracement is bullish. Well, let's see what sellers can do. Transports just look like they were heading lower and just blasted up through this area. Strength, and that, this is why we always say use multiple time frames. So for example, in here where we could have shorted this area up here with the lower high, we see the weekly here is, showing that kind of strength. We know that we're not dealing with the best of the best, but nonetheless, just based on how many bars this moved up in the beginning of the turn, this could have turned into a move lower. That's why we call this is the hard right edge. Here's where we take information, we assess the probabilities based on multiple time frames and concepts, and decide, is this, a fantastic opportunity, or is it like a decent opportunity? I would call this a decent one. So it moved down, and then comes down to how you're going to manage it. Hourly uptrend, obviously, with a move like this on the daily, but we got a topping tail as it took out the highs. We'll see where this one goes too. As I said, a lot of neutral stuff going on here today, but Dow futures, that looks like it's going higher to me. W bottom, break above the highs, consolidation at the top of the wide range bar. What can it do here? All right, so far it's inching up. Let's see if it'll keep going. Qs. That looks more of a pattern that's going to stall. Maybe an inside day today. So we start with what we see in the moment. We know this bar is not done. I see a minor topping tail. And when I look at patterns, I have a memory bank, so to speak, of different pictures between my ears. And as I'm saying this right now, the thought that comes to mind is a type of breakout bar failure. It doesn't meet the exact criteria, but I see where prices pushed up, a small tail. So far, it's an inside bar. If we were to close that way, then I'd be looking tomorrow to see if it breaks below that. And then I would go to my intraday chart. And you can see here, and let's assume this is at a close, and we've got this, it would be an inside bar consolidation, a break below here. I'd then be looking for intraday shorts, not swing shorts, but based on that daily pattern, I'd look for intraday shorts. And S&Ps, similar type situation, as you can see, getting close to those all-time highs. And so this, so far, it looks like it's going to work its way up there. Yes. So does Tesla have tons of extra juice, just like Boeing a few weeks ago? Smokestacker, I don't know. We're going to see if Tesla, I'm sure Dan is going to take a look at this, but you could see that it's down here at 260. So the buyers want to step up in this area and see if they can hold this low or not. So this is an hourly chart. You can see from that topping tail, it tried to go up and it got slammed back down. So if you're thinking whether it can hold or not, I would just go to a 5-minute chart and give it a half hour or so of chopping around and see if it can make a little bottom. And bonds up here a little bit after a pretty big pullback. Trend is up on the weekly, and it's got a void to continue higher. And we've talked about yield curve inversions and such. So you're going to want to keep an eye on this. If you don't have futures, just look at TLT, which is the ETF for bonds. And if that's going up, that means yields are going down. And that is a concern. Crude oil, the bull market continues. It's stalled here. Looks like it can continue to push up into this resistance area up there. The 200 MA, well, it just said, who cares about a line on a chart, right? And while it's widely followed, we always look to the left to see, is there anything real in alignment with that 200 MA? And that's why, even though we use moving averages, I know they're subjective and there's nothing there, right? You see some overlapping bars, but there's just nothing there. And in addition, I explained yesterday that a move up to a reference point, any reference point, whether it's a moving average or a swing high, did it start the move from a base, or did it, start a move from a low, say here, and just right up into it? That would just make more sense that it would pull back versus coming out of a consolidation and moving into it, and especially a moving average that was in alignment with absolutely nothing. And let's clear the lines here. So this looks like it can continue to move higher. There's a little selling going on here, pre-market, as you can see. And the real oddity here is the fact that these energy stocks just can't get out of their own way with oil in this bull market. I've said this how many days in a row, but it just continues, and they were under pressure yesterday. So pretty odd. Gold dropping here. It's got its chance to save the day here, buyers to save the day as it comes down to this prior pivot low. By the way, if you don't know what that means, it means pivot low. It's got 3 higher lows to the left and the right. That's all it is. But here's another example of, prices coming down hard. They could have possibly bounced, and they went sideways at the bottom of this wide range bar. And so now they're launching to the downside from this consolidation that couldn't break to the upside. So what do I see here? Possibly, well, obviously prices going down, whether they can hold here, and what you want to look for tomorrow. And there's a couple of things. Well, maybe it just crashes down through here. I don't know. The weekly here is still in an uptrend, but maybe it's going to break that low. But if tomorrow's an inside day, I would then suspect a breakdown bar failure pattern. And then you'd want to see on Monday if it trades above that high, and you could consider some scalping longs at that point. But we'll see where this is tomorrow. Right now, it's under pressure. You can see how it's falling here pre-market. There are very few buyers for gold at this moment. So, and I think that's it from me. It's 9:20. Dan, it is all yours, my friend.
All right, thanks. Good morning, folks. Yeah, well, Tesla, the train wreck today. So definitely we're going to be watching it. Fine stock. And I've always said that one has more gap risk. We're not in this Etsy, but I like it as a put spread. It's getting a little gap up here. I've been watching it for 2 days. Today might be the day. Not a directional, but put spread. Hey, good morning, Robert. Opens CPRT. We still have a third lot and Titan stop. It looks great. FND moved the stop to yesterday's low. Triple M. We have a put spread in the weekly letter and a covered call in the swing letter. Let me turn her down. Let's see what else. Delphi. We're a long half lot. I see one print up here, 2273. I hope it's real. It's hard to tell when you don't have a lot of volume. ACMIA, we're long stock. Neutral, tails, nothing to do. A couple marijuana stocks we're going to be watching. DG, call spread. 50% retracement into that bar, nothing to do. Insight, yesterday we did a call spread, this ugly breakdown. Papa Mike, short stock. Avgo, Reggie. So Avgo, we have a put spread, covered half. Papa Mike, short stock. Reggie, and I think that's it. Reggie, we're short stock. This tail's not real. Our stop is Tuesday's high. Some other gappers here. This thing getting, wow, look at that, bigger than 50% haircut. But I would say, even if I looked at this yesterday, I would say it looks like a penny stock toy, so I don't mess with those. SFIX, it came in hard. Buyers are stepping up. Small little bottoming tail breakdown failure. It's a put spread watch. ODP, Office Depot. Was trying to get us sea legs on all time frames, and now it's getting whacked right back down here. That looks horrible, but nothing to do with it. Gulf Hotel, deep retracement, 7120, nothing to do. TEUM 511, bullish gap. We'll see how it sets up. Bison 4239, bearish gap, has some air underneath, but the pre-market's holding fairly well. Roku 6710. No, that's gap. That's a mess. MU 4240. Oh, AMAT. We're also in. Add that. AMAT. We're long stock. Half lot. STZ had earnings. This was the beautiful weekly. It's pretty volatile. Look at $10 range pre-market. So now it's opening relatively flat. Maybe we'll do a put spread on that. SIG had earnings, not much volume pre-market, no pattern. Tesla, well, I got it here in the window. So what did I say? The implied volatility was like 67%. We'll see what it opens up at. RECN 1541. Wow. Whenever you got to go to your weekly, that's an ugly gap. That's ugly. Let's see how it sets up. PKG from yesterday, a 123. I like that. ZAYO we found during scanning. Dell was one that I want to watch also. MDT, wide range breakdown. Let's see how far that can bounce. COP, it's rolling to the horizontal support here, but it's lagging the sector. Now I'm into yesterday's trades. I was watching that as a put spread. GME had earnings. AMD's been strong. Here's our Bitcoin. All right, so I'm through my gappers. WBA earnings the other day, still can't bounce. BLL, if it can get over Tuesday's high, it's extended, but you got 3 weeks of bullish consolidation, so it's resting. Let's look at some other watch that I had. SWM. If it gets over Tuesday's high, Greg said something in MT Live yesterday that he said, I'm going to set an alert on something that shouldn't happen. And based on these last 2 red days, I don't think that will take out yesterday's high. So we can set an alarm right before it makes a new high, like 39.25. And if it does, then something's bullish with it. And then the weekly supports higher. Alarm set. SGMO. Gapping down, 12.12. Yeah, day trade short, sure. It's bearish. It's bearish pre-market consolidation. So yeah, 5-minute low, Ed. I like that as a day trade short. When I trade gaps, I like the pre-market to support it, just as if the market were open, and that one does. It's bearish, can't bounce, and it's not extended. Oh, Nike's on our short watch list today. Oh, K-Web, we have a put spread I missed. You know what? I got an email this morning saying, hey, Dan, is there any way to manage these short put spreads with gap risk? Look at lift up here popping. And I said, no. I said, all you can do is your best, which is don't trade Teslas, or anything that's high volatility. Don't trade into earnings or no news announcements. ETFs have less gap risk. Proper management. Make sure you cover half, as we do all the time. Don't hold over turning spots, overbought, oversold, but whether the stock or the market. Ladon, what do you think about a call spread? Long or short call spread? And you know, before I answer you, I have no idea what your bias is. Okay, so is a bear call credit spread a bullish, bearish, or neutral trade? Correct. So you're telling me you're bearish on Tesla after a $30 gap down, 10% gap. You wanna short something? It's not a no-brainer. And I don't know what this thing's going to do at the open. I wouldn't touch this thing for at least 15 minutes, preferably 30. Well, so that's my answer. Let's see what happens. I got it in a window right here, a 5-minute window. Charlie India, I have as a short watch. Yeah, it's not Christopher, not me either. That's not my style. All right, Etsy though, I like this, maybe 15-minute high for a put spread. Let's keep an eye on this. If it can hold this gap, see it's gapping right to these two highs. So far, I like, that's my answer, 15-minute high if it can hold. Some of these marijuana stocks, Capra, these are the ones that made our watch list. ARNA, but it needs some time. HRVSF, that's been a beast. IIPR, we'll see if it can turn. That is the ETF. Medtronic here can't bounce. That still looks like a continuation break on the 15-minute chart.